Will the Ravens pull a quarterback off the unemployment line? If Zeke is suspended, what will the reason for the suspension be? And a special guest drops in. All of this and more on the I Talk Back Sports Show. I am joined by my Steeler loathing co host, Jamal Bonner. My
Hey.
name is Kate. And welcome to the ride. Okay, Jeremy, would you like to give us a shout out?
Yes, I would like to shout out all of Middle Georgia, Jet Training Academy, Dwight Howard, anybody in the state of Georgia, North Carolina that we've dealt with. Thank you for having me on.
Great. I'd like to give a shout out to the coverage of training camp fights that for a otherwise, I guess, boring preseason or lead up to the preseason that the sports channels seem to be doing a great job of trying to play up these training camp fights to make us all interested and ready for our team to get ready and go out and fight. It's spirited. We love it. So shout out to more training camp fights. What about you, Kay?
All right, I want to give a congratulations out to Ivan Pudge Rodriguez and Adrian Beltre. First for Pudge, the 14 All Star Game Selection Player, 14 Glo- Golden Glove Award, and inducted to the Hall of Fame. A big congrats to the both of them, okay? And also, Adrian, he hit his 3,000th hit Sunday, and then 3 days later said, if his team is rebuilding, he's leaving. So,
Good
my
for
kind
him.
of guy.
Good for him.
Don't stick around for the foolishness. I don't blame you. He deserves to win a championship somewhere.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
All right, so today we have Jeremy Bradshaw, who is the owner of the Jet Training Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce our friend of the show.
How is everyone? Um, I'll tell you a little bit about Jet Training Academy. We mentor and tutor basketball players or anybody that comes in the gym that comes in contact with us. But our first priority is getting basketball players ready for college. We help with scholarships, things of that nature. We train players physically, mentally, what to eat, what not to eat, weightlifting, speed, agility, footwork, all in the game of basketball. Thank you.
All right. Okay, and so could you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and all those
I
types
am okay. I am from a small town called Fort Valley, Georgia, which is about 20 miles outside of Macon, Georgia, and about 2 hours south of Atlanta. A little bit about me. I played college basketball at a school called Point University. After I got done, I played a little travel ball. Um, Once I figured out that I was not going to make millions, I started working with kids, and I got under the tutelage of a guy named Derek Hamilton who works for the NBA, and we built a relationship. And he just put me onto the game and showed me the right way to do things for like professionals, college, high level high school players, high level, kids. And so what I did was started doing it in my hometown because where I'm from is a lot of underprivileged kids. A lot of things of that nature. They don't have a lot to do. So we got a gym, started opening it, and we started with one or two players, and now we're everywhere. So that's a little bit.
All righty. So where do you see your company going? How do you see it growing in the future? Are there other states that you would like to maybe start your company in? How many people work for you? Are you looking for people to work for you who are experienced in sports?
Right now, we currently have me and two other guys that train for us. I actually train in and out of Georgia and North Carolina. I go to North Carolina about every 2 weeks to do training. In North Carolina, it's not so much kids, it's more high-level players, high-level college players, professional players. Um, we're always expanding because we've flown to Wisconsin to work with players, Virginia. So, yeah, we're always expanding. The direction that I want to head in for myself is I want to be what you call like a travel trainer, and like travel in the NBA. You're at different places every week, basically, while jet training is still being taken care of by the guys that work with us.
Okay, and if someone is interested, maybe in the Georgia or North Carolina area, how would they get in contact with you for more information?
All you have to do is type in Jet Training Academy. It pops up on Google, and it'll give you my phone number. I mean, I can put my phone number out here. It's not a big deal. And that's it. That's how it goes. We're on Coach Up. We're on USA Basketball websites, anything like that.
Okay. All righty. Jamal, are there any questions that you have for him, for Jeremy?
So yeah, I'm a little bit interested just from a more social standpoint. Who's your basketball team?
Who is my favorite basketball team?
Yeah, what's your team?
I don't really have a favorite basketball team. I have one favorite player, and his name is LeBron James.
Oh man. All right,
But I'm gonna answer this for you though. I'm gonna say why I like LeBron. It really has nothing to do with basketball.
All right, shoot.
It's everything outside of basketball.
Okay.
Because me and him have a lot in common with what we want, with what we do. He just has a lot more money.
Mm-hmm. Understood. And do you have a football team of choice?
Pittsburgh Steelers, of course.
Oh man. Okay.
Is there any other football team in the NFL?
We need to end this show.
Jamal, with Jamal, there's a long-standing policy that whatever Steelers fan comes on the show, he has to give them grief. It's just his thing. It's his niche.
I can't.
Now, I'm going to ask one question to Jamal.
Sure thing.
All right, it's pretty simple. 6 is more than 5. That's all I know. So we really have nothing else left to talk about. I know in high school your teachers taught you 6 is more than 5, so there's nothing else to talk about.
So, with that being said, my teachers also taught me that 5 is more than 3, as per Michael Jordan, speaking of Kobe Bryant versus LeBron James. We're referring to on the court.
You're right. You're right. 5 is more than 3, and so Robert Horry has 7. So what does that say?
Robert Horry is one of the greatest champions of all time.
And Bill Russell has 11.
Hey. I am a big Lakers fan, but I still am in the minority. I will say that Jordan 6 doesn't even begin to be in the conversation with Bill Russell's 11. I just don't see it, especially when one of those championships he did as a player coach, Bill Russell, that is. So, to me, Bill Russell is the greatest champion in the NBA.
I can agree with that, and I can respect that. The thing is I think what we get caught up on is because all anybody knows is Michael Jordan, because of the shoes, the things of that, the things of that nature that has helped him out in his persona. Mm-hmm. We don't look at the whole basketball standpoint. We don't remember the Pete Maravich's averaging 40 points a game in a season without a three-point line. Mm-hmm. Because we don't study the game. All we know is, it's like when I have the argument about Jordan, it's like Jordan is on this pedestal and he can never be touched, which is crazy to me.
Right.
To me, if you ask me, because I am a basketball guy, to me, LeBron James is the best all-around basketball player who's ever played the game. And I'm not saying that because it's biased. I'm saying it from a basketball guy standpoint.
I agree.
Assists, rebounds, blocks, steals, shot percentage. I mean, he can do it all. He
Ramon,
has no
you're biting the lip.
weakness.
What do you have to say? You say you agree?
I don't agree, and at the same time, I'd have to do some research before I could actually come with a real answer to that. But just, I'd like to put a pin in that and come back to that at some point at a later date. But yeah, I appreciate LeBron for how he plays the game now in terms of being someone who is not just going out every night and scoring a ton of points. That he changed his game, and he is more of a facilitator, something that I wish my boy had done during his time playing. And he gets his people involved, and he just, his game takes a back seat sometimes. But I just, I'm gonna let that sit. I'm gonna let that sit, and but yeah, yeah,
Let me ask you one question.
sure thing.
All right. If Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan would have had social media and everything that LeBron has and the way that he handles it, would they still be in the conversation with being the greatest with the lifestyles that they lived outside of the game of basketball? That's something to think about.
I think that
We
you,
all hear, we all know the lifestyle that Michael Jordan lived. You hear it, but you never saw it. See, with LeBron, you're going to see it because everything is amplified by social media, pictures, TMZ, everything. So would they be in that conversation?
I'm gonna
I gotta
say,
think. What I think is that people or players, maybe back in that era, were left out because there was so much coverage around Jordan, around the main players in the NBA. Whereas now, if I want to know what a guard in Minnesota is doing, I can go to his Twitter page, I can go to Instagram,
Exactly.
I can follow everything. Whereas back in the day, no, you didn't have that type of coverage. If it wasn't on NBA stuff on Saturday mornings with Ahmad Rashad, or if they weren't talking about it during a game, you didn't know who these players.
TNT, yeah.
Yeah,
to add to that, I think that a lot of people learn from. There's a when it was Jordan, it was rumored, and then there was a book about it, the Jordan Rules, that came out that kind
Jordan.
of that kind of spoke of
Yeah.
okay, that sort of stuff. If Jordan had been playing at this time, that would have probably been all over social media. So I think a lot of players learned a lot from Kobe and how he handled his miscues, and that it was more of a lesson learned so that you have a lot of folks in the NBA who do not really get in trouble on social media because they are either properly schooled, taught, or otherwise to keep your nose clean, or if you're not going to keep your nose clean, make sure that you have people to cover it up.
Yeah.
all right, guys. So we're going to move on with the show and discuss some things that are going on around the nation. So the Cubs sent Steve Bartman a championship ring. What do you guys think about that?
I don't
Well,
know. He took a lot of flack for for a lot of years, so maybe he deserved it. I guess I don't know.
yeah, he practically went into hiding, like the witness protection program, because of all the scrutiny and everything that he received from the public. But I think it was a nice gesture for them to
It
think of
was.
him and to send it to him.
It was.
I think that it's a long time coming, that this actually probably should have taken place sooner, but it is, one, a nice gesture, and two, unfairly, for someone who was scrutinized and basically run out of Chicago over just some silliness that, the Cubs organization is doing a fairly decent job of trying to make sure that they are winning from the PR standpoint. So, in that regard, as opposed to just being, just happy-go-lucky champions. They did try to and finally squash this so that there's hopefully no more Bartman except as like a really minor footnote in the grand scheme of things.
Okay, and also, they did have the chance to win the next game. So after the catch, the catch,
Excuse me.
it was
No,
up to them.
that's no. Just no.
Yes,
Well,
they can't just
someone's
play.
always
They could have went out there and won the next game.
Jeremy,
someone's always gonna take fight.
just a quick second, Jeremy. You remember Bill Buckner, right? So
Yeah,
Bill Buckner's
long
mistake, right? Bill Buckner's mistake was not an elimination game. Everybody remembers it. Boston lost that game and then went on to lose the next game. But all everyone talks about is Buckner. So it matters. My Mets would never have won without that mistake.
All right, well, there we go. All right, so we're going to talk about the Hall of Fame inductees, okay? We have LaDainian Tomlinson,
Not a Steeler.
Terrell Davis,
Not a Steeler.
Jason Taylor,
Not a Steeler.
Kirk Warner,
Not a Steeler.
Gordon Anderson,
Never a Steeler.
Jerry Jones,
Definitely not a Steeler.
and Kenny.
Who's that?
Man,
He's still in the.
Hold on, guys. First, we have someone that want to talk about the 49ers. We have Kanoy Brown on Facebook Live. Welcome to the show, Kanoy. I'm wonderful. What do you want to say about your team? I certainly can. Okay, you're breaking up, so can you just type to us what do you want to say? Wipe the chicken. Yeah, wipe the chicken grease off your hands first, and then I can hear you now. Well, I think that and we've talked about this on the show. Standing up has its consequences. Whenever you fight for something, you're going to have your detractors. I'm more than sure, or I will go on a limb to say I'm sure that he thought about that when he did what he did. I think that he's handling everything with grace, and I think that if he does get a chance, I'm sorry. Oh no, I'm just saying, if he does get another chance, then he does. If he doesn't, I'm pretty sure he's prepared to not have another chance.
are we talking about Kaepernick?
We're talking about Kaepernick, Jamal.
Okay.
He wants to know your thoughts.
I'm still of the mindset that I'm going to go and use the big C word and say collusion is obviously taking place here. That as someone who opted out of his contract and who should have been an extremely sought-after quarterback, that with the stats that he has, when you have teams that are scraping the bottom of the barrel to bring in other quarterbacks and say that, well, they're afraid he's going to start, or they're afraid of his activism, or they're afraid he's not devoted to football. All of these reasons as to why someone who put up, and I hate the 49ers, but he put up decent stats last year. And definitely better than someone who played in the Arena Football League last year, that he should be in a camp competing at least for a backup role, if not a starting role. But if this is going to be the way this is, it has nothing to do with he took a stand, his stand was correct. And you shouldn't be punished for taking a stand on an issue in which you're correct, I feel. Jeremy, what about you? What's your thoughts on there?
Okay.
I have always said the same thing. Colin Kaepernick is a decent quarterback. He should be in the NFL. Like you said, he had decent numbers. My problem with why people dislike him is that 70% of all homeless people in the United States of America are former veterans, people that have been in war, people that have served in the military, and nobody bats an eye when it's time to help them, but yet we get mad because he kneels. That's something I don't agree with. I think we pick and choose our battles, and he's just a poster boy for us to pick and choose a battle. And as far as him being a quarterback, like I said, I feel like he should be in the NFL. I feel like, I mean, who in San Francisco is better than Colin Kaepernick?
Amen.
I mean, let's be honest.
Amen.
Like Shannon Sharp said, who is a better backup quarterback in Baltimore? You're making all these excuses. You have to do this. But who is a better backup? You're telling me that Ryan Mallett, who is...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you're telling me Ryan Mallett is better than Colin Kaepernick?
No.
My point exactly. But the thing is it didn't just start with Kaepernick. Now let's be honest now. And I hate to pinpoint this. Tebow went through the same thing. He won a playoff game. Next thing you know, he's out of the NFL. Yes, he had crazy throwing motions, but he won games. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about, you winning games. But because his Christianity, because he stood up for himself, because you could talk crap about him and he still was going to preach the word of God, that's the reason he didn't get his, that's the reason they forced him out. Let's be honest.
No, let's not make it. Let's make it about what it is. Let's not add to it because I feel that's what he was trying to do. This is why. The reason why you're not in the league is because you took a knee. It's not because you have an afro. It's because you wear braids. Because you went to a specific college. It's because you took a statement and you pissed some people off. But some people really need to be pissed off because there's boys dying in the street. Now that's just how I feel.
And we don't bat an eye. We don't say anything, and that's the crazy part. And the thing with Vic, I think Vic was speaking more from his self, what he had to go through to get back in the NFL. I don't think he was saying, hey, this, or this. I think he was saying, this is what Tony Dungy, when I got out of prison, told me I needed to do in order to get signed by the Philadelphia Eagles. And that's what he did. I think that's what Vic was trying to say. But, words get misled and everything else. So.
Hey, well, Jeremy, with that being said, what did Ray Lewis mean when he left a little video message for him saying that he made a mistake and basically he should keep all of that off the field? So what do you make of that?
You're looking at two different situations. Ray Lewis has to keep up an image for himself, first of all, because he's got 2 murders on his head. Be honest. Let's be honest with each other. So, of course, he's going to say everything that, quote, and I'm Caucasian, let's be honest, but he's going to say everything that Caucasian, because Caucasian people are the one that helped him get out of his situation or whatever it was that he was in. So he's going to have to be politically correct on everything that he does from here on out, or eventually it's going to come up and say, oh, you're siding with this? Well, let's talk about this in 2000, 99, 2000. Think about it.
Okay, I certainly can. Give me his contact information and we'll do that. All right. So that was the voice on the street. That's what we'll call that little segment. We had someone that wanted to say something, and so we invited them. Okay.
I enjoy it though. That's the people need to hear truth. They don't need to hear, sugarcoating and all that. They need to hear the truth. We have serious racial issues going on in America, and until we acknowledge what's really going on, it's going to continue to be like that. we shouldn't be losing lives. You know, people should not be dying at the hands of guns by police officers who are trained to protect and serve, but they are not protecting and serving us. And I say us
because this is a people problem. It's not a black and white
yes,
problem.
and but the thing is it's not going to change until Caucasian people say to themselves, "Hey, this has to change." That's when it's going to change. That's when people are going to start to notice a difference. When Caucasian people can actually say and hold themselves accountable for the things and the actions that are going on. But right now, they don't hold themselves accountable because it's not happening in their home, at their house, in their neighborhood.
Okay. You're certainly right. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to let me calm down and get back into myself.
Bring it back.
You sound like me.
Bring it back. There we go. Yep.
Riled up. But we'll talk about the Hall of Fame game and the inductees. So, Jamal, you said none of the inductees this year were Steeler fans. Is that what I heard?
Something to that effect. No D'Angelo Williams off in there. But the very, very deserving players on the list, I don't really have any sort of misgivings. You know what? Let me take that back. LaDainian Tomlinson, I think that he has Hall of Fame talent. And my question was, when I found out that he was up for it, was did he have the resume in terms of longevity? And that I don't want to begrudge anyone who reaches the Hall of Fame at all. I'm asking the question of, did he have the longevity? You know, Terrell Davis, I gave an absolute pass to because of his injuries. But LaDainian, he had injuries, he fought through them, but his resume just didn't grab me. But otherwise,
13,000 yards, 145 touchdowns in 170 games. Yeah.
But I mean, this is me. That's just me.
Also,
go ahead.
And also, piggybacking off that, being one of the best all-around backs in the NFL for numerous years, as far as pass catching and running the ball.
All right, Jeremy.
All while doing it on a team that was horrible.
I don't know. One of those
most of his years.
Didn't one of his San Diego squads make it to the Super Bowl?
You know, but then you have Terrell Davis. His numbers aren't nowhere near LaDainian's. He has 7,600 yards and 60 touchdowns.
Well, the only time Terrell showed up was in the playoffs. That's why.
He just showed up at the right time to get his hardware.
Exactly.
Right. So speaking of the right time, let me take a moment and say this. There is a person on this list that I really have a hard time swallowing and taking in, and that is Jerry Jones. And I feel that Jerry has done a lot. He's done quite a bit, but I think that there are owners that have probably done more who are not in the Hall of Fame, who've done it behind the scenes, and that Jerry has been a great showman, and he has made sure that people knew what he's done. So it is one of those sort of things in terms of as a contributor, it's more upfront, but I don't... I'm going to...
He has a good marketing campaign. He markets himself well to get the things that he has.
Yes, ma'am. I think that kind of hit the button on exactly how I felt about Jerry Jones. But again, I cannot begrudge what he's done, and especially in terms of our team winning a couple of Super Bowls under him, and just being a very valuable team, more valuable than the Steelers. But it's still one of those.
5 years. What has he done in what have you done for me lately, NFL?
Well, I mean, okay, in the last 5 years.
Does Jerry Jones deserve to be in the Hall of Fame?
Well, we're not giving him an. They're not giving him an award because of the amount of Super Bowls he's won in the last 22 years. I think they're giving it to him for contributing in other ways to the
He does.
success of the NFL.
He does.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think I think the reason he's more in the public eye than most owners. So
Mm-hmm.
you're going to hear more about him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not
That's
always
what I
a good
think
thing,
he is.
Jeremy. That's not always a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, him and Mark Cuban have a lot in common.
Yeah. Okay. So I
And
wanted.
I'm gonna be honest. I think you should kick all Cowboys out of the Hall of Fame. Let's just leave it at that.
All right. So
Okay.
why do we feel that T.O. will go into the Hall of Fame? Because he was definitely left out this year.
Mm.
Jeremy, let me toss that at you. When do you think?
I think he should be in the Hall of Fame, and I guess I'm a little biased because I was a T.O. fan. You know, not really a 49ers, Cowboys, Eagles fan, but you know, it's hard for me to teach kids to work hard, and then the things that he did, or you know, and during season, off season, you know, it's kind of hard for me not to say that he doesn't deserve to be in there because of his mouth, or because a lot of times that's the way they look at things. Well, he did this, and this, and it, you know, it took away from his game or whatnot. Because I'm a huge Jerome Bettis fan, and everybody knows Jerome Bettis talk more crap than anybody. So I don't know. I feel like he should be in the Hall of Fame.
I'm going to echo everything
What's
that
his
he.
stats like?
Oh, his stats are
My
wonderful.
point exactly. My point exactly. So why is he not in the Hall of Fame? It's a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
T.O. is definitely one of those players I enjoyed to watch play, and for a number of the reasons that you just said, that I enjoyed watching him on whatever team, similar to Deion Sanders. And as someone who talked a lot of trash and so forth, my lasting impression of T.O. is the hated, celebration on the Star in the old Texas Stadium. And then the interview that he gave to the reporters in his driveway as he's working out, he was a polarizing figure, but that doesn't matter. It's his stats and what he did. And so he threw his quarterbacks under the bus. Each one of those quarterbacks he threw under the bus sucked. The only one he did not really throw under the bus was Romo. But Garcia, out. McNabb, not so much. So, you don't have to like him to recognize that he was a good player, and he's definitely Hall of Fame worthy.
And the only reason why he didn't throw Romo under the bus because this was Last Chance Hotel. He knew he had to make it right in Dallas, or he wouldn't be able to go anywhere after that. So that's for me. That's the only reason. All right, so let's start with the AFC South. We're going to break down the 4 teams in that conference. And Jamal, would you like to go ahead and get us started?
So we'll start with talking about the Houston Texans and the significant loss for the Houston Texans was their quarterback Brock Osweiler. I'm sure that they are hurting and sad to see him go. They added Deshaun Watson, this unproven rookie from some small school in South Carolina. Not sure what he's going to do. And picked up one of my former Longhorns who is a little bit of legal trouble, Dante Foreman. But you're talking about a team that is going to be run by their defense this year. And it would be really great to see J.J. Watt get on the field and star opposite Clooney, that you're going to have a very interesting squad that's being fielded in Houston this coming year, and I'm looking forward to hearing them make some noise. I think they win the AFC South this year, and that's all I can give them. They're still the Houston team, so I can't give them too much love. Jeremy, what about you? What do you think about the Texans?
I think their defense carries everything. You hit that on the head. They have decent corners. They have two of the best pass rushers in the NFL. Their linebackers are not bad. Their offense is going to sputter at times, but just like Prescott, if you can get Watson in there and give him opportunities and he makes the best of it, you never know. He's a winner.
Mm-hmm.
I'll definitely agree. I'm not going to repeat what you guys just said. I think some interesting games that they'll have this year is definitely against the Patriots, the Chiefs, and maybe the Jags. We never know how good they're going to be this year. And they play the Steelers as well. So they have some tough games on their schedule. So we'll definitely know more really soon.
But you know they're going to get killed when they play Pittsburgh.
Oh boy.
It will be interesting to see brother versus brother, though.
I think the game might be 6-3, and it just depends on who's going to kick the most field goals. So it will be. It will.
But see, Pittsburgh has J.J. Watt's brother now, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah. So the next squad that we're going to take a look at are the Indianapolis Colts, who finished third. And the Colts are in a very interesting situation. The big, huge question mark for the Colts is what's up with Andrew Luck. And the reports that are starting to come out of Indianapolis don't sound great for Mr. Luck. So as Andrew Luck goes, I think so goes the Colts, because they do not have the defense to rally around and to take this team beyond third place. So I don't see them doing any better than third place this year. They may even flirt towards the bottom, depending upon what Jacksonville does. Kay, what about you? What do you think about the Colts?
I don't believe in the Colts. I don't believe in Monday morning quarterback ranking Andrew Luck before the injury as the 5th highest ranked quarterback in the league. I am not a believer in him. I think that the person that may be under him may be just as good. I just don't drink that Kool-Aid. It looks like they made a lot of free agency moves, a lot of people I ain't never heard of. So, yeah, and then they lost their GM. To me, it seems like they had this great idea after Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, and that idea is not working out for them. So I think they're trying to get a lot of stuff together, administrative-wise, and obviously this team is just, it looks like it's just really, let's see what works and go with it. So, yeah, the bottom. Or the bottom or second to the bottom. But I'll say the bottom.
Jeremy?
I don't think they're going to do too much. Yeah, I agree with both of y'all. There's no sense to keep harping on it. They're not very good.
All right. That being said, let's move to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who finished 4th, 3-13 last year. They went out and grabbed Tom Coughlin to oversee things, and they brought in Doug Marrone as the new head coach. I am looking forward to seeing what this team does. They took one of our safeties, Barry Church. Barely know you, bye. But they did pick up Leonard Fournette, so that's going to be interesting. Jacksonville is not going to go out and beat a bunch of teams this year, but they are going to be probably a somewhat entertaining squad, and I can see them as being third in the AFC South. What about you, Jeremy? What do you see in them?
I think they're second, third. They definitely have a roster that looks, it's like one of the rosters that looks good on paper, but you don't know how it's going to play out.
Exactly.
I think Bortles is going to be all right. But other than that, like I said, they have a roster that looks good, but you never know how it's going to play out. Everybody had them picked last year to make some noise, and they ended up being, 3-13 or something like that?
Exactly, yes. What about you, Kay?
I think they'll be better than 3-13. I think their schedule is favorable for that. I think they're in their growing time, and I think that they're headed in the right direction. I think Coughlin will definitely have some discipline for this team and to help them also on the defensive end of things. That's about all I have for them.
All right. So the final team in the AFC South, speaking of growing, are the Tennessee Titans. And the Titans, with the injuries to their vaulted quarterback, kind of fell out of the playoff race. But the Titans are making some noise, and they have built their offensive line to protect him, and they have made some additions on the defensive side to kind of shore up. They picked up a very decent couple of wide receivers. They're looking like second. They could flirt with first place. I think that once this defense of theirs starts to gel, they're going to be entertaining this year, I feel. But that they're still just about there. They're getting there. You can see the steps being made. Tennessee is going to be a very interesting team to watch this year. Kay, what do you think?
I think they also have a favorable schedule. I think that the line really needs to protect their quarterback so that he won't get hurt. If he gets hurt, they have a problem. Okay? Mm-hmm. So if they can do that, if they can protect the quarterback, I think the defense will be okay. And they're offensively, I think they're stepping up with the moves that they made in the offseason. Jeremy?
Really not much to say. Second or third. I think they're all playing for second or third. I feel like Houston's going to be first, and everybody else is probably going to miss the playoffs.
Agreed.
I think Tennessee might sneak in, but otherwise I think your assessment is right on point. I believe that that's going to be everyone's playing behind Houston in terms of the division. So let's get to a division that is not the NFC East, but a division that I have been waiting all offseason to talk about, the NFC South. And I'm going to say that I really and truly don't have a dog in this hunt. But just from a football fan standpoint and just from looking at it on paper, purely on paper, this looks like a fun division. So I'm almost giddy. Sorry. So we're going to start with the Saints, and I'm going to go ahead and say right off the bat, they're going to be at the bottom. They just do not have the talent to keep up with the rest of this division. They have a number of additions from the free agency standpoint with Ted Ginn Jr., Adrian Peterson, Monte Teo, Chase Daniel as the backup quarterback. I mean, there's a long list of additions to this squad, and yet I don't see that they're going to have enough to be able to overtake any of the teams to be of any sort of consequence in this division. They just don't have it. Jeremy, what about you? What's your take on the Saints?
I think they're at the bottom. They're going to score points because they have Drew Brees. I mean, they're going to score points, but I just don't think their defense or anything else is going to be able to stop anybody else. So they're going to have to score 40, 50 points a game to win games, especially in that division with Carolina and Atlanta at the top. It's just, and even Tampa Bay, they're getting better. So I just don't think they have the firepower to even compete, honestly, on a week-in and week-out basis.
What about you, Kay?
Yeah, I don't have nothing to say. They're at the bottom.
I thought this was your other squad.
It is. This is my second team away from my team, but you know, they're in a rebuilding time. They're getting better on offense. It looks like with the addition of a running back and a receiver, but they need other pieces like on the defense. You know, they need help.
Yeah.
And help's not on the way this year. They might have to wait till next year.
Okay. I'll tell you what, Kate. What's your take on the Atlanta Falcons?
All right, so I think the Atlanta Falcons take a step back. I don't see them returning back to the Super Bowl. I would, only because they lost Shanahan. I think that he was very important to them as far as the offense is concerned. And I just don't think they'll. I just don't feel them. I mean, they gave up that big lead, and I think that's gonna hurt their confidence. Jeremy, what you think? You're close to the situation. What do you think?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I hate the Falcons, and
Bam.
that's a strong word. I know it, but I dislike the Falcons. But I'm also a realist. With the firepower that they have, they can compete with anybody. They got better defensively. They picked up some players. You got Julio Jones, you got Devontae Freeman, you got Sanu, you got Matt Ryan, and you got one of the better offensive lines. They're going to score points, and you're going to have to outscore them. And their defense is getting better because they're getting younger. Deion Jones, guys like that coming back. It's, I can see them winning the NFC again.
Wait,
I ain't
what?
saying they will. I could see them going back to the Super Bowl,
I don't.
and I dislike them.
Why are we talking to a Steelers fan again?
But I'm I'm being honest. Them in Carolina could end up in the Super Bowl,
Listen, Steelers fan.
but it takes a lot of factors for that to happen.
As both of you have pointed out, and all I'm going to do is unfortunately echo what was said already, and I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to put Atlanta in third place in their division. I think that the loss of Shanahan is really going to hurt them offensively. They do have the firepower. I'm just questioning whether or not the right plays are going to be called to get them to score what they need to cover up for the defense that they have, the very porous defense that they have. So allow that to lead to the Carolina Panthers, who I'm going to go ahead, who were fourth in division last year. I'm going to put them at second this year. And as Cam Newton's arm is apparently getting better, the re-addition of Julius Peppers and a couple of key pickups along the way, and getting rid of their defensive coordinator, which really will help this squad because Carolina was known for having a very tough defense, and I'm not sure what has happened along the way. They're going to pick it up. They're going to be back. They're going to also use Cam better. The offensive line really started to show that it had some muster to it towards the latter end of the last season, and I think going forward this season, this is a team that is 2 years removed from the Super Bowl. The fall off was a little bit much. They're going to pick it back up. They're going to be second in this division is what I'm getting at on this. Okay, what do you think?
I think that they will improve as well. If Cam was playing hurt last year, then he's going to be back to where his form this year, if that was the case, okay? So they have a running back, McCaffrey. I'm really excited to see what he does this year. And so, really, we'll see. I was sad to see Ted Ginn go because I really liked him, but hey, happy trails. Jeremy, what?
I think Carolina's right up there, one or two. Kind of hard to go against Cam Newton. Uh, like it's hard. He's that guy. That's how I feel. And he's a Georgia boy, so.
Okay, so tell us about Tampa Bay. What do you think about them?
For me, Tampa Bay is all about Winston and how he progresses. He does have great pieces around him. Not great, but good pieces around him. His defense is going to be solid. They could easily slip in and get the one or two spot. The top three spots is tough. You got Atlanta, Carolina, and Tampa Bay. So either one of those could come out of the South. And they're all evenly matched. All of them.
Yeah, when you said dogfight, Jamal, I was thinking, it's going to be really, really tight, especially towards the end of the season. So I'm really excited to see Tampa Bay play. this year, and they have a pretty, I mean, besides their own conference, they have a pretty easy schedule, I think. So I can see them, first or second. I can't put them first because, you just don't know. Jamal, what do you think?
As I said, I've been kind of excited about this. Tampa Bay is the one team that last year you could see the pieces really coming together and that they really just needed somebody to be on the other side for Jameis to throw the ball to. Well, they went out and got Deshaun Jackson, who I really like as a wide receiver. And then they drafted O.J. Howard, just who, if he lives up to his college billing, is going to be an unstoppable tight end. This is going to be a very entertaining team to watch, I feel. The defense that they have is really stout, and now Jameis has other pieces. He doesn't have to go all out to win games. And again, Doug Martin, who was their all-world running back who has had some issues, is now almost expendable because their backfield has gotten that much better. So I'm pulling for the Florida State boy to, pull it out. I have them winning the NFC South as long as he stays healthy. I think that unfortunately getting rid of Mike Glennon may possibly come back to bite them if something happens to Jameis. But otherwise, this squad's going to be entertaining. The NFC South is going to be entertaining. I cannot say enough about what is going to be taking place in the NFC South this coming year. So second best division in terms of football, in terms of what I'm going to be watching this season, it's going to be great. So, quick question before we move along. Last week, was it last week? I believe, yeah, we profiled the AFC North. And I said that your Steelers were going to win the AFC North. Is that something that you agree with, Jeremy? And if so, why?
Of course I agree with it. Well, you got Cincinnati who's falling off. Cleveland's not going to do anything. Baltimore's in shambles. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, their games are hardly ever going to be blowouts. So it's going to be close. But everybody else, they're going to probably be cakewalks for Pittsburgh in the division. I think they'll end up 12-4. I don't really worry about, if we stay healthy, I don't worry about anybody in the AFC but New England. That's the chopping block. And that's the only team I really worry about in the AFC.
So you don't think about the Raiders?
No.
Wow.
The Raiders got to get to where we're at. We're not trying to get to where the Raiders are at. So, it's kind of hard to go against Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, and then you're getting Martavis Bryant. And if Martavis Bryant was on any other team, he would be a number one receiver. If he could stay out of trouble, stay away from drugs and things of that nature, then, your draft was, you had a decent draft, which they do pretty well in the draft. Your defense is young. Besides James Harrison, you're getting younger. So it's all about. But I will tell you one guy to look out for on their defense, and that's number 48. That's Bud Dupree. He is going to be an all-pro. And I've been saying it since he came out of Kentucky. He just has it. He has stuff that Jarvis Jones don't have. He just has it. He gets it. He was raw. He just has it. He is going to be a great player.
Got it. Appreciate that. So, but you've confirmed my assessment. So I do appreciate hearing that from a Steelers fan that this one time we are in agreement on something. So, moving along, we have one little piece of Major League Baseball news. The best team just got better with a trade from the Texas Rangers to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Will Gu, starting pitcher for the Rangers, will he help the Dodgers win a championship? And more importantly, can he stay healthy enough to do so? Kay, what do you think?
He can help. He had the last couple of outings weren't that well. I mean, as long as he doesn't stink it up like he did the last couple of times for us, I think that he'll be okay in the playoffs. I think the Dodgers kind of missed their mark last year in the playoffs, but I think they're coming forward this year. What do you think, Jamal?
I'm a Mets fan. I hate the Dodgers, but I think that the Dodgers did come close last year. I think that they are the class of the National League. I don't know that Chicago has done enough to keep up with them, but I am going to be interested to see what happens. I think it's a good question to answer come August 31st, September 1st. Let's see what happens in the dog days of summer. People change, teams change. So let's see what happens in September. As of right now, at least on paper, it looks like the Dodgers are going to be the team to beat this year. What do you think, Jeremy?
I think the Dodgers are the team to beat to come out of the National League. I actually thought they were going to pull it out last year, but I think that was just because Chicago hasn't won in so many years, you know. I think it's between them and the Cubs in the National League.
All right, guys. Jeremy, I want to thank you so much for spending time with us today and also sharing information about the Jet Training Academy. Again, if you want more information, just Google it, and his telephone number will be there. Jamal, this has been really fun as always. I want to thank Hanoi for calling into the show and asking us some very important questions that we need to always keep in mind, like what's going on in our world and not just with sports. Okay, guys? So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.